Hi, everyone. I'm Gary Summers, and welcome to the audio edition of Mind, Body, and Soul, a show about your mental, physical, and spiritual wellness. I have another interesting guest this week. As always, I have with me Sheila Leonard, who's going to talk about CHIH and the wisdom of healing Qigong. Welcome, Sheila Leonard.
Hi, thank you very much, Gary. It's wonderful being here. Thank you for the opportunity to share.
And I know you're just getting over a cold, so if you have to do something, well, don't you worry about that. If you have to sneeze or cough, we all understand that. So before we get into it, Sheila, just explain to our listeners what they can expect to hear from you today.
Well, I would like to share a way that we can help ourselves feel better using our own natural inner resources. And that way specifically, you mentioned Tai Chi Cha and you mentioned wisdom healing Qigong. Well, today I'd like to focus on Tai Chi Cha. It is a very simple way. Anybody can do it, no special equipment, do it anywhere, anytime, but it can really help us feel better using what we already have inside of us.
And you made a very interesting point, because I always say to people, it's not what you do, it's how you feel about what you do and how you feel after you do it. And you know, a good friend of mine, you probably know Elaine Dunphy. Elaine teaches Nia dance, and Nia said, you know, if you can't find something to do, you're not looking hard enough. So I feel great that I can introduce you wonderful people to the citizens of Newfoundland and Labrador. So, how did you first find Tai Chi Cha? Because next week we're going to focus on wisdom healing Qigong. So this week, Sheila's going to be here for 2 weeks. This week she's going to focus on Tai Chi Cha. So, how did you find it?
I think it found me, Gary. About 30 years ago, I had gotten very sick with a lot of autoimmune, environmental issues. My life that had been very active and very engaged became totally turned upside down. I ended up taking some time off, that was the only option at the time. And I met somebody who was teaching Tai Chi Cha. And when I started doing it, something started shifting for me. I had checked out a lot of knocked on a lot of medical doors, and there I was given more questions than answers, and really basically was told I had to learn to live with what I was dealing with, that there were no ways around it. And when I got into Tai Chi Cha and some other energy healing work, my life did indeed start to turn around. So I plugged into another way of helping myself to feel better.
And I always say to people, you know, I get so many people certainly in my practice, people seem to have given up. They feel that this is what life has given them, and so they have to live with it. And I think what's important for our listeners to understand is there is a solution to every problem. All you have to do is believe that there's a solution to every problem. And as long as you keep living in hope and possibility, at some point you will find the solution. And in your case, it was Tai Chi Cha. Sorry, go ahead.
One of the quotes I have in my emails is about the place where we feel limitations, stress, etc. That is the same place that holds the seeds for new possibility and new life. So we don't get rid of anxiety or fear or sickness. We learn to navigate our way through it. I call my website Awakening the Energy Within.
Yes, so I noticed that. I noticed that on your website. And I guess that's what makes you so passionate about. So just talk about that, Awaken the Energy Within.
We are, I want to say we are energy beings, however that might sound to people. That's kind of new. It's not new age, it's as old as the hills. The universe is an energy space. You know, there's a natural energy in the universe. Actually, 96% of the universe, scientifically, 96% is pure energy. It's only 4% physical matter. So we are embodied energy, and that energy fuels everything in the universe. It fuels everything inside of us. And when that energy, which naturally flows through our bodies, gets blocked and clogged and slowed down by stress, disease, whatever happens, genetics, like our arteries do, then the flow of the energy is interfered with. Then we have discomfort, distress, we have dis-ease, and disease can often be the result. And so if we can reverse that process and open up the flow of energy, then we can restore wellness in all kinds of ways. And that's one of the goals of Tai Chi Cha.
Bruce
Is to
Lipton.
open up the blocked energy.
Bruce Lipton wrote a book called The Biology of Belief. And he's a scientist, and the two things that I really got from his book is the first thing he said, which reinforces what you said. He says we are all photons floating in an electromechanical field. And when you don't feel right, because I always say to people, act on your feelings, because your feelings are really your emotional guidance system. If you don't feel right about your feelings, then you're not in balance. Then something is wrong. Either your beliefs are wrong, your direction is wrong, you're hanging around with the wrong people. Because Bruce Lipton also said that it's not our environment, it's not our heredity that carves our destiny, it's our beliefs. So if you believe that if you can believe that there is something better out there, you just have the courage, you just need the courage to go out and find it, then you will find it. In your case, it found you, but you had to be, you had to have been opened. You had to have been open to the possibility that there was a life better than the autoimmune problems that you were having and the disease that you had. So I'd really like people to listen to Sheila, because what she's saying to people is just be open. Just be open to the possibility of this vast universe that's only 4% physical matter. So is that what makes you so passionate about this? Because I can see it and feel it in your voice.
I have a passion for this. My passion is for life and for anything that helps people become more alive, more joyful, more happy, more content, and for myself as well. And when I found Tai Chi Cha, it helped me shift from a gear of frustration, desperation. Maybe I was very young at the time and I was not about to live the rest of my life like this if there was another way. And I was too stubborn, maybe determined to change something that somebody else told me couldn't be changed, because a lot of people come to me out of desperation, like the last house on the block.
Yeah.
You know, they've got chronic illness, they've got mental illness, they've got whatever else going on, physically, mentally, emotionally, or they just want to find more energy. They're getting older and they want to grow old gracefully. So that sense of, like attitude, as you say, is a paintbrush, like it colors everything. So we have a basic human longing for something more, something better. We do. Whatever that is. And Tai Chi Cha helps us open up to that. You talked about energy, the energy that is in us. It's alive, it wants to move, it wants to connect, and it wants to thrive and flourish. So, we want to settle for what we have, or we want to aim for something more. Tai Chi Cha is one of the ways we can navigate that.
You mentioned earlier about your autoimmune issues, and some people had told you, well, you're going to have to live with that. And if you had believed that, then you would have been today in the same place you were when you were young. But you decided, and here's what I think what listeners need to understand. Some of those people who say that there's nothing else that they can do for you, all they're saying is there's nothing else that they can do for you. That doesn't mean that there's somebody else out there who can't help you. People only know what they know. They don't know what they don't know. So if you're going to settle for, well, I can't help you, that means nobody can help you. That's not what people are saying. They're just saying that I've exhausted my limits. That means to you, if you're having issues, go find someone who can help you. And that's really your message here, isn't it, Sheila?
Yeah, a lot of people think of Tai Chi Cha or a lot of other homeopathics, naturopathics, whatever else, yoga, as alternative ways to good health. They are not alternative in the sense that traditional practices, traditional medical care is not where it is. It's a matter of both working side by side. And for me, like I had one of the things that happened to me when I gotten very sick, it was autoimmune, it was environmental, it was huge. And I lost a main nerve in my face that totally creates the life in my entire face, in my skull. It's a trigeminal nerve. And I totally lost it. It blew totally because of what I was dealing with.
Sure.
And I was told it could never come back. Mm-hmm. I have a neurologist that I've been dealing with over the 30 years, who within the past 4 or 5 years did more tests with me, just waved his papers at me and said, Sheila, you have done the impossible.
Yeah.
You have done what our books say are impossible. You have totally restored this trigeminal nerve. That does not happen. And so he said, I don't understand it, but keep doing what you do. Now, between Tai Chi and Qigong, okay, it wasn't like a one or the other, sure, and other things in my life as well. So yeah, we need to kind of be masters of our own health in a sense of working in collaboration with everything that's out there, but not settling for just what's out there. You know, we need to come home to ourselves, to our own bodies, to that amazing capacity we have for healing. We're like it's science-based, it's evidence-based. We have a whole healing capacity within us that oftentimes goes untapped or taps into it, and we don't go deep enough. Right?
I think part of the issue is I think the statistic I read was by the time we're 17 years old, we're told 150,000 times, no, you can't. And only 3,000 times or 30,000 times, yes, you can. So we're 5, 7, 8 times more we're told no than yes. So when we hear these stories of, no, I'm sorry, I can't help you, then we've heard it so often, we tend to seem to believe it. But if we just open ourselves, and like you said, and I always say to people, you have the capacity within yourself, you just need the courage and the determination to go in and find it. You need a little direction along the way, which you found in Tai Chi, but everybody has that ability. Now, when you talk about energy, we all know that energy cannot be created or destroyed. Mm-hmm. So when you talk about energy, just explain, are you talking about this new age energy idea, and how does it relate to Tai Chi?
The energy is not new age. Like I say, it's as old as the hills. The energy moves through our bodies, so these pathways, we call them meridians. In the ancient caves in China, they found 5,000-year-old pictures on the walls of the patterns of these energy pathways in our bodies. They're drawn out on the walls. And today, science can actually, with their infrared cameras, take pictures of our bodies and trace these energy pathways. When these pathways get blocked and clogged and slowed down from stress, disease, genetics, or whatever else environment, then we're just not as well. We can't, because the energy is not moving. And so when we move, it's how do you name it? How do you hold it? You know, it's kind of catch a raindrop in your hand. You can't really hold on to it.
Sure, exactly.
But you can all feel it. You know, if we do a simple thing like rubbing our hands together, we used to do it as little kids. If you rub your palms together like it's a 20 below day, and then you hold them pretty close without quite touching, just notice, just do it yourself even now, Gary, for a minute, half a minute, and see what you feel. You will feel some kind of, I'm going to call it energy between your hands. It's warmth, it's heat, it's magnetic. We thought it was static electricity when we were kids. We used to play, I bet you can't feel this. But if you just do that simple thing, and in Tai Chi, there's a movement, several movements where we actually have our hands opening and closing and activating that energy so we can feel it. But that simple rubbing your hands together, you know there's something there, mystery. It is big mystery, but you can feel it. And you can use that powerhouse inside of you. Every cell in our body has a factory that creates energy, generates energy, builds energy. You know, we're born with a certain amount, but we can build on it.
So Tai Chi is a tool to help you go inside of yourself, to help to focus on the energy that you have inside of yourself. When I talked about new age energies, a lot of people are just hearing these terms for maybe the first time. They talk about energy and all these new people like Bruce Lipton and some of the other people who've been around. But if you haven't been in touch, people tend to be skeptical.
Mhm.
And they tend to, and like you said at the beginning, absolutely, the New Age and the Eastern and Western medicine have to kind of come together to work together. You just don't put
Yeah.
all your eggs into one basket and
Best of
hope
luck.
and hope that it's going to work. You really need to do your research and everything. Just explain Tai Chi Cha is, just explain it. What does it mean? Is it movement? Is it just kind of, or even talk about who comes to your class? Like what would a class look like?
Okay, the chi, that's the key word. That's the energy that we're talking about, this mystery element, and that you really can experience it, even though you can't quite understand it until you do experience it. Who comes to my classes? People come because they've got a lot of fatigue, because they've got chronic illness, they've got a lot of stress. I mean, who's not stressed to the limit with COVID right now? They're fearful, they want to get rid of their fear, they want to get rid of their anxiety, they want to get rid of this pain. Sometimes Tai Chi Cha can help you change, like the physical pain can help release that by releasing the blocked energy, the stuck energy, any kind of discomfort. It's about energy in our bodies that's being interfered with in terms of its natural flow. Little children, they have boundless energy, right? And we have that energy inside us. It's just that same energy, probably more because we're bigger, but that energy in us has been blocked and clogged. So people come to my classes whose energy is low, whose mental, physical health is diminished, and who want another way out. They come because they're anxious, they want to get rid of it. Tai Chi Cha, and the same will happen with Qigong, even more so, doesn't help you get rid of your fear. What it helps you do is acknowledge that something is stuck inside. And you do these practices to relax our bodies. We do a lot with posture. It's like our posture is an energetic highway. The energy moves up and down our spines and goes out to all the parts of our body. So posture is important, but the energy can't go anywhere until we relax. The posture gives it a place to go, right? The relaxation lets it move. And when it moves, then we take this challenged energy that we call negative energy. Fear is not negative. It just means it's stuck energy. Anxiety is not negative. Grief is not negative. Depression is not negative and negative. It's like it's energy that's stuck, and that's what's negative about it, right? That's the challenge of it. And so we free up the energy, and then we're just more alive. So people come either because they've got a lot of illness or just want to feel better.
Sorry, go ahead.
I say anything can happen. The Tai Chi Cha in particular, it's a set of 20 movements, and they're very easy, soft, gentle. A lot of them are similar, so they're easy to learn. Anybody can do them. You can do them seated. You can do them standing. You can even lie down, visualize them going off to sleep. Some of my students tell me they go to sleep doing Tai Chi Cha, and they can, and it really has improved their sleep, right?
Sorry, go ahead.
So anybody can do it. So when people come to my class and they do the practices, all of it, some of it, you can do as much. It's not an exercise as such. So you come to a weekly class and you go home and you come back. It's one of the best exercises you can do, though, at the same time. But it's deeper. It can go where you want it. If you just want it as an exercise, I want to move, my body wants to move, my energy wants to move, that's what it can be for you. If you have that more, this can take you wherever you want to go with it. So It can.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I'm finished.
Okay. So all ages, abilities? Do you do standing, seated? Any special equipment? Do you need a certain kind of space? Just talk to those what's your oldest person, your youngest person who comes to your classes?
I have a group. I'm a presentation sister.
Yeah.
And I do this at we'll call our mother house, our main house in the city, and we have a nursing unit. I've done this with people 102.
Wow.
I've done it with people who are 10 years old, who come with their parent, like I had a young boy who came with his mom. And then he came back 5 years later because he wanted to do Tai Chi Cha again as part of the one of these government awards, youth awards. he needed a physical activity. He said, can I come into your class again? Will you sign for me for this activity? You know, so, and I've had everything in between. The average age is probably people in their 50s who are starting to retire. They want to, they're aging, they want something different. But like anybody, you can do it seated. I have people in wheelchairs. I've had one person who had no mobility whatsoever in her lower body. I had a person with spina bifida. I've also had people who could run rings around me in terms of physical ability. Right? But anybody can do it. You can do it mentally, you know, so anybody can come. You don't need any equipment. You can, space-wise, you can do it in your, I don't say you can do it in your bathroom. You wouldn't want to do it in your bathroom.
Oh, sure,
but you can move if you can sort of stretch your arms out a little bit around you, that's all the space you need. And no special equipment. You can do it in your bare feet. You can do it in rubber boots. You know, it's totally up to you. Outdoors is wonderful for doing this because you're creating with that bigger energy picture.
Absolutely. What kind of benefits do students tell you they experience? What keeps them coming back? Obviously, there's some big benefits here. So can you just talk to that?
I had a class on Tuesday by Zoom group, and so I was just asking, we were sort of cluing up at the end thing. So we had somebody new. So I said, just share with each other, like what you've gotten from this so far. And several of them were talking about they came for balance. You know, balance, I have an article that says for seniors only, and I put not in front of it. Balance is not about seniors. I saved myself from falls on ice because when I walk, I'm told I walk differently now. I do, my feet are planted. I tripped something in my house. I land flat. I ground myself rather than lunging. So one person who has, she's had issues with a brain tumor. When she came to me, she couldn't walk a straight line. Her doctor blown away by the difference, you know, but that's an extreme, right? Not everybody has a brain tumor, but just aging and balance is a big thing. Just stress, you know, chronic pain, people dealing with that. One person said the other day, she's been doing it for a long time. She says, I do this first thing in the morning. And she said, my day is more focused, it's more grounded, I'm less scattered. I go into my day feeling really, really good. And if I don't get to do it in the morning, my day's different. And another person, she does a lot of really close-up artwork, like handwork. And she said, she has a lot of arthritis in her hands. She said after two practices, two of the 20 moves, she said today, my hands started to feel different, open up differently. So, you know, other people who just deal with, I'm thinking of a 5-year-old in a class. I didn't teach it, a friend did in another place, but this little child got sent to a timeout chair. And this 5-year-old said to the teacher, Miss, can I do Tai Chi instead? 5 years old.
Wow.
Right? And Folsom Prison, you know, like Justin Stone, who's originated this, he tells the story of Folsom Prison, an inmate who was 25 years on a murder rap. He says it was self-defense. He spent his time, knew Tai Chi, did Tai Chi while he was there. Other prisoners saw him do it and said, what are you doing? There was something that drew them. Yeah. He got permission to teach Tai Chi. The statistics at that prison, it's a revolving door. You go in, you go out, you go in, you go out. Those who did Tai Chi was not a controlled study, but those who did Tai Chi and left never came back. Largely, you know, and like I did some of this at the prison several years ago, and those who came to my classes, quite a mix of people who came, they talked about how it helped them. They're doing time, but it helped them do time that felt different.
Absolutely.
They had some power. They could take back some control in their lives. It's not about what happens, is what we deal with, what happened, how we deal with it. So, you know, the people come for anything. It helps them deal with anything from colds to cancer, and you name it. No specific moves or a certain condition. When you get the energy flowing in any part of your body, you get it flowing everywhere. And so when you start to heal one part, you start to heal the whole. So it can be very, very simple. People just feel differently. Some, you know, I did it with a group at Gonzaga High School one year, justice group, after school, social justice group. Heard their teacher was doing my classes. And one of them, whose life was really full, she said afterwards, she said, Sheila, I feel like I just had a good night's sleep. When we did a practice.
You know, go ahead.
No, I could say like the gamut, you can address anything in your life. It might not change it, take it away, but it feels different and you can navigate it differently. It doesn't have control over you anymore.
It's not the traditional term when people say I'm going to Sheila Leonard's exercise class.
I tell you, yeah, just
And
come prepared.
I hear
Come
you give I hear you give homework.
Well, you can come to class and go home and come back. One student told me one year, she said, I come for the music and the relaxation. She said, I'll do practice at home next time around. And I said, that's fine. That's what you get. But the more you commit to it, it's like whatever you give to it is what you're going to get back. You invest more of you, you're going to get back more for you. Right. So, yeah.
What do you say to people who say, I've got a busy day? How can I fit it into my busy day?
Good question. Good question that comes up all the time. I'm only going to do this here because I don't have time. How important is it? How important is this? Like, it's an investment that's going to make a change in your life that's long-term. It's a short-term investment in the beginning. Most of my students, the one the other day who said she was more focused, she said, I do this first thing in the morning. When I started doing this, I got up 20 minutes earlier.
Is it addictive? Is it addictive?
It's not addictive, but it does leave you wanting more. It does leave you wanting more because, as one student said, doing it just feels good. And who doesn't want to just feel good? Right? It just helps with whatever we're dealing with.
You talked about health issues. Are there certain practices you recommend for specific health issues, or does it, would you have people with a broad range of issues come to your class? Because I've known some people I've talked to who'll do neurogenic yoga for a certain issue, or they'll do something else for a different issue. So would there be specific movements that would be for a specific illness, or is it just a whole general, you lump everybody together?
You can do Tai Chi for whatever your particular need is. Our bodies have an innate wisdom that when the energy gets stirred in there, wherever it's blocked, it's going to start to open. When it starts to flow, it's going to go where it's needed most. It's going to awaken the energy places that are stuck as it moves through your body. And it can help deal with anything. Your focus is your focus. So if you have a heart condition, then you mentally can guide that energy to your heart as well. It's not that it's going to fix your heart as opposed to doing something different to fix your lung. You're just opening energy. When the energy flows, it can go anywhere in your body. It can help heal anything in your body. And like we have one of the practices, like when we're doing it, it's about relaxation. And, it's like going inside and allowing, like Justin Stone, who is the originator, he talks about joy as our natural heritage. We don't want to be out there. Joy is I read somewhere the other day on one of these emails that comes in, joy is a happiness that does not depend on what's outside. So when we plug into a natural joy inside us and focus on that, and that in itself can help us relax. Our joy is the source of our smile, or our smile is the source of our joy. Sure, think not harm, right? But when we can allow ourselves to go inside, come home to ourselves, start to love ourselves in a different kind of a way, not criticizing, I hate my nose, I hate my hair, I hate my hips, I hate my weight. It's like, well, come home to yourself. This is one body. We only get one. Yeah. So we're going to be happy in it or we not. That's a choice, right? So we can start to make friends with our bodies more, and relaxing more, loving it more, sending in that loving energy. That loving kindness is it's the natural quality of this energy. It is, and it's in us. So, so just send it to whatever needs it.
Sheila, you talked about doing Zoom classes. I guess we were all forced to go online. And as we're starting to come out of this pandemic now, just talk about classes, like where, when, will there be in-person classes available? Do you have classes online that people can see? Do you have live Zoom classes? Can you talk just a little bit about that? Because we're almost out of time, and I have one more question after that to ask you.
Okay, sure. Usually I do my classes. I've done them around the province. Usually I do them here in the city on St. John's at the Lantern on Barnes Road. Yeah. Off limits for 2 years. So we went on Zoom. Yeah. I've been doing Zoom with like what I call beyond beginners. They're people who are returning. They've done some classes, they got the basics, and there had not been a lot of interest last year in doing beginners classes. I'm just doing an interest survey now, and I'm getting back some positive feedback. And I'm looking to do some beginners Zoom classes It'll be on like a Monday morning, if it goes ahead, sometime later in March. Monday mornings like 10:30 to 12, or 10:30 to 12. And the Qigong, I'll be doing it like on, let's say, a Wednesday. And my website is simply sheilaleonard.ca. And the information about that will be on my news page, so people are curious. But I will be doing it. It's going to depend on how many sign up and how many we can manage. I mean, I'd be open to doing 2 if I could, if we needed to. But I've had, I've got a group from Clarenville. There's 8 or 10 of them who want to do it. They can't come to the city. They can do it on Zoom. So if you're in Corner Brook, sign up. I have Corner Brook people come. But so Zoom is a different way to do it. Some people are afraid of Zoom. They think it's complex, complicated, technical. It's a machine. It's amazing how you can develop relationships on Zoom with the group, and the community support is really important.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Sheila, we're almost out of time. I get therapy every time I talk to people like you. I feel better after I talk, and I didn't expect the interview to go this way. Wow, what a wonderful surprise for me. I know it'd be good. I didn't think it'd be great, but it was. Sheila, when we finish up, can you give our listeners a little piece of advice that they can use right now to help them with the adversity that they faced over the past 2 years? And even many of them have faced adversity long before it got even worse with the pandemic.
One of my things would be find some quiet time for yourself. Come home to yourself, come home to your body. We've kind of created a battleground for everything in our world. We fight cancer, we fight wars, we fight taxes, we fight COVID. And if we can somehow get into a mode where we can be present with what is and get out of that fighting mode, which constricts the energy in our bodies, it does naturally. And if we can open up, so this is what it is, so now what? I have that kind of now what attitude, and take back our own power for our own capacity for healing, build our capacity, build our confidence, build our confidence, build our capacity. So find that time, whether that's in nature, whether it's going to your bedroom, lock your door, or going to the bathroom and lock your door, but just find some time for ourselves, come home to our bodies, know that we have a powerful potential for wellness inside of ourselves, and just be open to that possibility. That thing I talked about with your hands opening and closing, just if you think this is like voodoo, one of my brothers used to call this voodoo, right? And tease me, but just open your hands up, close them almost, let yourself taste, and let that curiosity, if not an interest, at least a curiosity, be sparked. Right? Gary, I have one thing I would like to read if I could.
Sure, you go right ahead.
And so it's, you can't appease the appetite by reading the menu. You have to eat the food, right? Yeah. And so if this even stirs a tiny spark of interest, follow up on it. And this is a Chinese bamboo story that I got when I was doing my training. And it simply says, in China, there's a type of bamboo that doesn't appear to grow at all for the first 4 years. It just develops a massive root structure while the shoot barely shows. In the 5th year, it grows 80 feet. Now, I used to think that was a typo. 8 feet I could handle. Yeah. A student of she was there in Korea for a year and she saw it. Then it goes on. Many things in life are like that Chinese bamboo. You may not see any initial evidence that what you are about is making a difference. But if you persist, eventually a tremendous harvest will result. And so take that first step. Take a first step and let it take you.
And build that base, that strong base that can support everything else in your life.
Yep. Then that becomes a reference point. It's like, now what? This is happening. Now what? Somebody said, so what? Now what? And I said, it's not so what? Now what? It's so now what?
Yeah. Sheila, thank you very much. Now, I know you're going to be back next week, and we're going to talk about the wisdom healing of Qigong.
The wisdom healing Qigong.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. Again, Sheila, thank you very much for taking the time out of your busy day. Many listeners don't know I went to school with your brother Blair, so next time, I haven't seen Blair in a long time. Next time you're talking to him, tell him I said hello.
I will. And thank you.
he had
Thank you
the.
too, Gary.
We'll talk again next week. And so everybody, that's it for this week. We'll be back next week with Sheila to talk about wisdom healing qigong. Thank you. Thank you, Sheila.
And thank you for all the wonderful work that you do to make these things available to people, Gary, and for your own wonderfulness.
Thank you. Thank you.